we're starting now. So hello and welcome to Stories from the Smoke Room. Clap, 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 clap. Yay! We can all clap. We can generate that.
Clap ourselves.
Yeah. John's already got an archic by putting applause.
Yay!
Right.
Look at the clap spread through the chat room.
For those of us who don't know what's going on, and you probably do because it's literally 4 people that we know who are watching this. Basically, the best. The best storytellers.
8 people.
Good. The best storytellers in the world are people in pubs, and that's what we're trying to do here. Is a bit of storytelling, like you get in pubs. I'm going to go full screen on there because I've just thought I can. That's a bit better for the people who are watching the stream. There we go. So yeah, it's the best storytellers are people in pubs. So that's kind of what we're doing. Imagine we're 5 people sitting around a pub, bullshitting with each other. So we've all got stories that we're going to tell tonight, and we'll see what happens. And we should be all done for about 9:30, we reckon. We'll see. But let's go through it. Adam, what's your story about tonight?
So my story tonight will be about my brilliant holiday in which me and a friend went down to either Cornwall or Devon, and trying to play.
Okay. Sounds like gold.
Nice.
Hannah.
I mean, I'm not going to give away in this bit that one of us nearly died. That would be useless.
Why would you do that? Hannah, what's your story about?
I'm just going to talk a little bit about the encounters that I've had with people who are famous. And the encounters aren't particularly, let's say they don't paint me in a great light. Like all my stories.
I was going to say, do any of your stories paint you in a
I'm
great
continuing a theme.
Because, there was that one, wasn't there, where you were pissing on lions from on top of a hill?
I pissed on a lion. I was sick on the Pope's house. My only friends are birds. And I can't remember. Oh, and the other thing was I used to work. I can't read that.
It says Tory.
And apparently I'm a member of the Conservative Party.
Yeah, we won't hold that against you. Steph, what's your story about?
My story is another example of how I'm potentially going to lose my teaching licence.
I think it's really good that you're announcing this publicly on the internet.
I mean, when the eventual tribunal happens, all these recordings will be played back to the
Exhibit A.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
No
Exhibit A. She let snakes in the classroom. Yes.
Mike, what's your story about?
Well, the funny thing is, Dave, I've got a GCSE in dance.
Mike has a GCSE in dance. For those that don't know Mike, you're not sitting on what would be called a traditional chair, are you?
See, it's weird because I have to explain my quirk. Normally, when you do this for real, I've never... So the funny thing is, I actually use a wheelchair.
You do, yeah. Normally, it's one of the first things that people notice as you go over their foot.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if like nobody mentioned that, and then I get to my story?
Yeah, so he told this story about, doing GCSE dance. Anyone can do that. And my story is about my heart attack. Spoiler, I live.
What does he?
We have picked an order. There was a little bit of admin that went on before the show, or bad admin, or badmin, as I like to call it.
Wow.
And we've got an order, which is great. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming up first, can we all have a big round of applause? Some applause in the chat as well, please, for Adam Unwin, ladies and gentlemen.
Good. I'm not entirely sure how relevant or how necessary that applause is, given what my story is. So, 6 years ago this week, me and a friend of mine, a very, very good friend, decided that what we'd do is we were going to write a play for University Theatre Company because we were both middle-class white men.
You have to do at least one. It's in the contract.
Yeah, we have to. I think it was the law at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a podcast, so like
Yeah, exactly. See, now I'm like an outed bisexual. I had to go from theatre to podcasting. It's like the rules. It's
It's a journey.
It's an emotional growth. But the thing is, it was his family like holiday. They'd booked this huge mansion-y thing. I mean, it looked huge. We had like a tiny annex of it, but the driving up was this huge mansion overlooking Watch It Bay. Oh no, right. The place is called Watch It because not only is that the name, but that's what the locals say constantly to outsiders.
Watch it.
And it's a lovely, lovely place. I'd recommend everyone go there because got to give the British public their money when you go on holiday. I don't care. I'm just going to put occasionally. I'm going to put this up as like a Tory warning. I'm not sure if the image is flipped or not, so I've written it twice.
I was about to say, that's genius. Oh, brilliant.
So Will and I, you could very much describe us. You think I'm a little bit like, oh my god, it's absolutely wonderful. I live in the countryside. It's absolutely brilliant. Will went down and only brought tweed. He only took tweed and shirts. That's all he took to this beautiful hot southwest trip. And what we did quite early on was go, right, we're there trying to play. It was an adaptation of an Irish, that's not right, a Russian story. They're very similar. Two cultures, both based on alcohol. They're practically the same.
That's offensive to most of the world.
Well, in which case, none of them can take claim I've like done them especially. So we were like, right, we're going to do this adaptation of this very, very good book. Adam, have you read the book? Yes, I hadn't, but I said yes. And he'd done like a first draft. On the first, how dare you? On the first day, I went, okay, we've looked over your first draft, and we've read it. This is, let's be honest, crap. Right, it is crap. Well, luckily we've got a week to rewrite it. It's great. Well, day one, we've just settled. We're not going to do any work today. Let's go to the pub. And so we walk in, lovely, over a lovely railway because there's a steam railway there over the tracks. Absolutely beautiful.
Of course,
had to stop to let a steam train go past. It was, if you're interested, it was a saddle engined. It was a saddle tank.
What gauge was it?
It was classic 5.5, 5 foot 8.5 inches.
How
Which
did
is
you know to ask that?
Because I've known Adam for 2 years.
The question would have been, what colour is it?
I
Extent of my knowledge.
What do you say, Michael?
Did it look like one off Thomas the Tank?
feel like I've written Adam in a play.
So yeah, the reason you got to if that part of the world, yeah.
I feel I've
That
written
part of
Adam
the
in a
world.
play and then dismissed it as being too cliched.
I love how you call me a Tory and he's the one going, so we took on our tweeds and strolled to the railway line.
which I thank you very much. I was not wearing tweed. If anything, this story is classic Lib Dem.
I was about to say that.
And in that part of the country, you
quite
have to
early.
ask what gauge it is because half of the railway will be Brunel, and he favoured an 8-foot gauge. So, good question.
You're welcome.
I'm looking at you, Steph, because I know that me and you are both thinking the same thing, which is WT fuck.
We should go on a team outing to like the Black Country
Look,
Museum.
we're already going to the Tank
That'd be
Museum.
great.
Fine.
Oh yeah.
But yes,
If
so
I-
we went.
I'll come with you and we'll get discount. Even a joke.
I can skip the queue. Get on your fast track.
Oh, that can be our post like Corona treat to ourselves. Anyway, as you were.
Anyway,
So we went to this pub, and the guy was like, It was proper that way. He was like, "All right, lads, what do you want?" And we were like, "Well, we'll have a cider, please." And he looked at my mate Will, who was in full tweeds. I was wearing like nothing of note. And he went, "All right, do you want fizzy or the other kind?" And I went, "Whoa, my family's from Somerset. I think we'll have scrumpy." And he went, come with me, lads. And I've never seen a man smile so much. He sort of went, oh, you guys are fucked. he just pulled back a curtain, and the whole back wall of this pub was just eggs of proper Somerset scrumpy.
Amazing.
And I went, oh, how many have you got there? He was like, about 20. Great. Well, might as well. We'll start at the top and work our way down, shall we?
Oh, God.
And when I woke up on day 3, so that day happened. It was. I have one memory from that evening that remains, and it is me beating a local at chest and going, "Fuck you!"
I feel like this is a bit like if the Inbetweeners film was not in Magaluf, but in fact in Somerset.
So yeah, day 3. Day 2 was a write-off. What we did, we read through the play again. Went, okay, we can't do any work. We're both hammered. Watched some of the World Cup because it was around that time. Day 3, we were like, cool. We're going to go down. We'll walk down to the beach and we'll walk along to the next village, which was called Blue Anchor, named after the only thing there, which was a pub called the White Lion. Apparently, it had been called the Blue Anchor, and they just not thought to change the village name. So we were like, right, we had a few bottles of stuff on us. We had a few ciders and stuff we bought. We went down to this beach. There was like a lovely, really, really beautiful flat sand. The sort of sand that it's like 4 miles out to the water, but then you blink and the sea's risen that much and you're drowning.
Western-super-Mare.
I was just going to say Western, yeah.
But actually nice. Because Western is the only place you go into the sea, come out, and you're dirtier than you were into the water.
You've clearly never been to Skegness. Carry on.
Or Burnham on sea. Burnham is worse because the power station's right next to it. So you go in and you come out and there's this weird foam on you that's like definitely not from the power station. It is.
Oh my God.
I've seen enough Doctor Who to know that stuff kills you.
If you go in there enough, you will end up with superpowers.
Yeah.
Oh,
or dead.
Trip to Burnham on sea.
Let's get Mikey walking.
Nope. Quick, there's a delay. How can we sort that out?
Exactly. It's fine.
What you don't realise is, like, wheelchairs and sand, like, if the sand is a certain texture and, like, hard and not sort of, like, crumbleable, that's not a word. It is now. I can actually drive on it. Went to France, and it's quite sturdy. I can drive.
I suppose if it's slightly damp, so you can get a. Yeah.
And the marks in the sand. A lot have done a big heart attack. It really is.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We just need to get you on a gypsy lift so you can look at it from above. But anyway, so we got onto the beach and started walking across. It's like 2 miles, lovely sunshine. Out on the horizon, there's a storm, but it's on the horizon. And as we all know, storms on the horizon at sea often stay at sea.
Yes, we all know that's a thing.
That's what they do. They don't ever come back in because why would they come in? They've clearly gone out for a reason. So about halfway, I know, just shy of halfway. Just shy. So it was at the point of like no return. It started rolling in. The sea started coming in. So we went from walking in about a mile space to about 100 meters to about 50 meters to about 10 meters towards the shore. And it's just a cliff face there, sea there. But like, it's fine. It's like another. The map says roughly some distance to Blue Anchor. You know, just some distance.
I like to think this is what it's like in actual cabinet meetings with the government.
Some people might die, but some.
An amount.
Let's not be accurate here.
How's the budget looking? I don't care. This gin is lovely. Thank you, Boris. But yeah, so we made the decision that we'll plow on because we might as well. and if not, we'll drink and we'll be rescued properly. And at this point, Will discovered that tweed is a wonderful fabric for holding water.
Oh no!
What it does is, he by the end of it, he was wearing like thigh high flares. Like the flare wasn't starting at his ankle; it was starting just shy of his balls. It was like,
Oh god, it like soaked up.
yeah.
Oh,
So we did in the end. We made it. It was raining like fuck. Absolute like storming, and because we are prepared, we brought nothing. The notebook, which had our notes for the play in, was in the end we lost it in the sea.
Poseidon took it. It was for the best.
Poseidon took the amendment. Right now, in Atlantis, it's been running non-stop for 6 years. It's the most popular play in Atlantis. It's because the only other play they had was like the C.S. Lewis ones that were lost in the Titanic. So we did all that. We finally got there, got into the pub, and the guy went, "Another 2, eh?" As if like this was a normal thing. And so we decided we'll get warm. We were like, how busy is this pub? The guy's like, "No one's coming all day." Sweet. Do you mind if we take our trousers off, dry them on the radio, and play pool? Perfect. Not a problem. Because what you want to do in a situation when your trousers are off is playing a sport which involves lots of bending down and over. And the pub had been completely dead when we got there. And for about halfway through the game of pool, it was completely dead. As we came to the final ball movements. No. The final few shots, about 8 families just descended. And we were like, "Oh no, this is going to be hard to explain. Luckily, we're both white and middle class. We'll be fine with this." And everyone sort of went, "Oh, they're just eccentric Londoners." We're not. How dare you? I went.
Do they just think you were wearing particularly tight, skinny jeans?
Yes, it's not my skin. It's just a flesh-coloured skinny.
You know what, Rob? Sometimes, mate, I'm really grateful that I couldn't do this shit without like. Sometimes I just think I'd need saving from myself. It's really good that I get. It's really good that
I have that feeling a lot, and I don't have any excuse.
So I'll hurry through. I'll hurry through now. So day 4 involved we read over the play and kind of made some amendments, not really. And then in the evening we went to a scrumpy farm and got fucked. No, we got drunk. We got drunk. No, I know it's Somerset, but no. We got very, very drunk. At this point, I was sleeping downstairs on the sofa because I was like, because they were all in rooms upstairs. I kind of been a tad too long late. I was on the sofa that night. I was like, no, sod it. I spooned Will in the bed he had watching
Wearing your tweed
Ninja
pajamas.
Sex Party videos. No, I don't have tweed pajamas. If I did, I would wear nothing else ever.
Can we get Will on the chat, please? I feel like we need his side of this story.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Is this when you discovered your bisexuality?
No,
It was a long time.
A lot. That was it was. I tell that story, but it's not fun. It's just I got drunk, saw my friend kissing with a friend. It was like a man kissing a woman. I was like, "Hey, that's not fair. Let me join in." I went, "Mwah, mwah." Oh, I feel the same. Nice and easy. Hi, Mum. And then so that was day 4. Day 5.
Sorry, Adam. We have a question in the chat from John. Were you the spooner or the spoonie?
I was the spooner. I was the big spoon. I called myself the ladle.
So poetic.
I'm a beautiful man. It was like I was the ladle. He was the soup spoon. Still 2 big spoons, but just one is clearly big.
I have a problem with the whole spoon thing because salad spoons are the same size. There is no big and small.
That's why
you
they're
use 2
perfect.
spoons together when you're picking up salad, right? And those spoons are the same size. So there is no big and small spoon. It's just this spoon and this spoon. And
But if you turn them round, they still cut perfectly.
yeah, you got for them to
Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
This is a chat for another time, but I've got problems with that.
I've got to rack on. So that was day 5. Day 6. As a family, they were going to go on the steam railway, the heritage railway. And I was like, I'll go too. We went to go there. Will's dad realised that he'd not brought his diabetes medicine and was violently ill and had to go to hospital. So what that meant was me and Will. So they'd bought like everything, including like it was family food for the journey. It was like a 20-mile journey, not that long. But it was like a family like meal like buffet thing they'd ordered. So me and Will sit on it. Will in like white shirt, perfectly collared, tweed white waistcoat and a tweed blazer, and I was there in like, I'll wear something smart. I'll wear like a jacket and some jeans and nice shoes. And this guy came over with all this food and went, oh. Okay. And he went off. What the fuck? And he came back with champagne and went, enjoy your honeymoon. And left. And I was just like, oh.
That's adorable.
I'm not going to tell him because it was a very good bottle. So now we have 1.5 days to write this play.
I forgot the play was even a thing.
Yeah, right. So had we. 1.5 days to write. We come back from the train journey. Will's dad is all right. He's a bit more stable. And we turn on the TV to have something in the background to watch and find Germany are 5-0 up against Brazil. I'm like, oh, well, we can't right now because history is happening because I only care about sport. And we watched that, got drunk, went to sleep. 1 day left to write this play. Right, we're going to do it. We wrote it in a day. All the amends done, everything done. The play ended up being 3.5 hours long. And I'm going to be, as like co-director and co-writer, shit! It was genuinely awful. I've never had any more fun than I've had doing that play than I've had doing anything. And I watched the film of it recently, and I found the script of it recently. Went through and went, oh, we made an audience pay and sit through this.
Oh, you actually put it on?
Oh, what? I want to hear that story.
It was put on. One of the people in it knew it was terrible, and so I at the time hated him for it. Then I loved him, and now I hate him for it again. Was that he just started improvising like the lines and stuff, and I was like, oh. At the time I thought it was hilarious. Will thought it was the worst thing ever. I was like, great. Then hated it. Yeah. To the point where I'll leave it on this. There was a scene in which his character was flirting with a maid, and then later on he's abducted by, he's taken from his home by a bunch of Nazis and executed. It's the story. The play is a man go through time, and at his execution, the actor went, "Do you know that maid I was flirting with? Not a maid," and was killed then. And I was just like, this is the emotional culmination of this whole play, and you've made a trap joke. And I was the lighting up for this play, so I knew to do everything. And I turned to watch Will, and Will had just unscrewed the top of a bottle of whiskey and went, and put it down. Got another one out and did exactly the same. And
okay.
That's the story of how I went to watch it to write a play and just got drunk and nearly died in the sea.
If there's any questions from the chat, then please put them down.
I would like to say, it's well worth investing in some dramaturgy. Just to get to the end, but equally, getting it right is, it's not an event; it's a process.
No. I think we all learned a lot from the process, and what I learned most of all was my favourite scrumpy is a pear scrumpy called Bee Sting.
Right.
There's I've got a whole heap of questions for you, really, but I don't know whether we can go into it now. Right, the trap joke is unforgivable, but I also can't help but think that those actors who learned 3 hours of dialogue put more work in than you lot did writing it.
Oh, that's not true. We wrote it, so that's how we wrote the second draft, and then over everything else we put more and more. We did more writing after that. A lot of those actors that was their first show as part of the Theatre Society. you pull that face. As I said, it was the most fun rehearsal
mean to pull
process
that
I've ever been part of. Like, genuinely, it was so... If nothing else, we recognised that this play had shortfalls. So, like, right, we're going to make this whole process great and really, really fun and just a laugh. And all the people who were in that play, all of them, either ended up as part of the committee, possibly to make sure it could never happen again, or they stayed as part of the company for that whole time of university. So I'm like, mate, it worked. It got them hooked, and they enjoyed it.
To be
and
fair,
no one,
like
no
a lot
one
of
said a
people.
bad word about the process.
Yeah, a lot of people don't put that effort into the making it a nice process when you're at uni. It's just like put this play on, and then you're like, oh shit, help. Yeah.
I know the work I've put into some of my scripts that I have been told are genuinely good, and no fuckers turned up to see them. How did you get people through the door paying money?
I mean, Will sounds a hoot. So
I'd say it's more the advantage of having a university theatre society, and that everyone's like, yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, your friends all come. Yeah.
Oh well, thank you.
It was a proper hoot. It was a proper hoot.
Thank you, Adam. Moving swiftly on, Steph Loftus, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Woo!
Steph,
Woo, indeed.
tell us about your delayed sacking.
I mean, the fact that I got out of that job without a severe disciplinary at some point was just a miracle. And to be fair, none of the incidents were my fault. I just accidentally instigated every single one of them. Like, that's not. It's not my fault.
Your Honour.
So there's more than one instance here.
Oh well, if people go back and watch like other of our podcasts, like this is this is a common occurrence. And, yeah. But so. So, I was in my NQT year, so I nearly didn't make it to be a teacher. So, try as I may, I got through. So it was November. I was in my NQT year, and I know it was November because somebody, the other member of staff who decided to organise this trip said, we're going to do a Remembrance Day trip. And I was like, this sounds awesome. What are we going to do? So you'd assume like a Remembrance Day trip. You might go to like Warsaw Arboretum. You might go to RAF Cosford. You might do... No. We went to a graveyard in Bushbury.
The big graveyard in Bushbury.
The one with the witch's grave.
The one with what?
Right.
What?
So allegedly, it's one. I think it's the oldest graveyard in Wolverhampton. It's not far from Bushbury Creme, but like it's attached to a church. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the church is called. But we went there, and there is allegedly a witch's grave. And if you Google it, there'll be a gravestone with like a handprint on it. And apparently that is the witch's grave. There's like a rumour. It's not proven. It's one of those like, ooh, we're going to scare you sort of things. So that was our first stop.
Okay.
Already I can feel the remembrance just pouring over us all.
Really thinking about the troops here, staring at the witch grave.
Remember the witches.
We then...
Come on, Katu.
We then went from the graveyard, where behind said graveyard there was a hill, and we all walked up the hill. And you know how much I love exercise, so I was absolutely buzzing off my head about this. We walked up a hill to the metal tree.
That's just a pylon.
Right. It is like a metal pole that's got this metal covering around it that they've gone, this doesn't fit in with the aesthetic of our countryside. Let's paint it to look like a tree. So we had to go and spot the metal tree.
There it is. Does it have poppies on it?
Nope.
Also? Okay, cool.
Has nothing to do
Boom,
with
boom,
anything.
boom, 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 boom. Clonk! It's that one.
It's the one with a bunch of birds that have been knocked out around at the bottom as they try to hammer their head in
Loads of woodpeckers unconscious.
with concussions.
Like, just with bent beaks going, whoa!
It almost feels like you're inside of a Jackson Pollock painting. Just like,
Honestly. And then to finish off our trip, we also went to Birmingham Dogs Home.
For Remembrance Day.
Well, the dog's in the war. I can't join the dots here.
Neither can any of us. So
I'm going to get red string and be like,
Brandon, Brandon, leave that tree alone and remember, Brandon, come on.
Now, what are we remembering?
Brandon,
Dogs die in hot cars.
put the magnet down, Brandon. Put the magnet down.
So we went. We set off at 9. There was 3 different minibuses. We'd all got this map, so none of us were in the same place at the same time.
Right? Did you hire the minibuses? Was it like a?
No. These were part of the school's fleet
Just
of
like
minibuses.
just imagine the phone call to the coach
You had
company.
to drive there. It's not even just these are places that are within walking distance of the school, so we'll just go there.
we can crowbar them in somehow. But
Yeah.
no, this was.
Yeah.
Did you have a big wheel of today we're going on a trip for? Remember 2, 3.
Dogs home. Sad dogs.
I wish this
Now
was the
these
weirdest
dogs
bit.
are sad, and the people in the war were also sad because it was sad. Now get back on the bus.
We've got to go to a dog. We've got to go to the racetrack in a minute because remember, come on. We've got a schedule to keep. We've got to go to there and the wacky warehouse because remember.
Oh, we've got to pop in at Woolworths on the way back as well because I need some string for
string was in the
remembering.
war.
We just pop round Asda and do my weekly shop, and you all remember what I'm doing.
Remember what we need to buy.
They didn't have quinoa in the war, Kevin.
So, anyway, I didn't say that's where the madness stops, but it really didn't. So the 3 minibuses went out. We were all supposed to be in different locations at different points to stop us bumping into each other. Go on.
At the moment, I think the person who arranged the trip needs to be fired.
Honestly.
Not you.
Not the weirdest thing they've done either. Oh dear.
Don't you know the 1st of July is always dressed like a clown day?
So we'd all been told we need to go to these different places. Me and a couple of the minibus drivers went, I'll meet you here. We're all on the same route. We're all in this together. Thank you for the High School Musical little dance in the background, Adam. So we went all there. Our last stop of the day was, in true remembrance style, Northercote Farm. I'm yet to find, to this day, this trip was about 4 or 5 years ago. I still don't understand. And there are times I wake in a cold sweat at night and go, what does it all mean?
There must be a clue. Perhaps you take the first letter of each location and you put them together, and that was where you were supposed to go, but you didn't crack the code.
It spells the Somme as an acrostic poem.
It spells eep.
So that again, Mike.
Do you remember that program with Annika Rice? She used to
Treasure hunt.
go to places, and there'd be people in the studio directing us, surrounded by dictionaries and books.
Yeah, treasure hunt.
Like that.
Yeah, you were doing a treasure hunt. That's what it was.
Oh, well, I feel like I won the prize with what I'm about to tell you happened next. So we got to Northcote Farm.
It gets better.
bearing in mind, we've been out since about 9 o'clock. We've done all of the points and we were at Northcote Farm. And I said, we're going to get them to do the silence at 11. We're going to be respectful. We are going to find a link.
Wait, you'd got through all of this in like a couple of hours?
Yeah, I had run these kids round because I was like, we're just going to Northcote Farm. We'll have fun for the afternoon.
To be fair, there's only so long you can spend at the metal tree.
Yeah.
Did you just drive by it? Like, everyone look out the left. Everyone look out the left. That's the tree. That's the tree, yeah.
So we got to Northcote Farm. I sat them down on the benches. I was like, right, lads, we're going to do the silence. It's coming up to 11. I want you all to be respectful. We're going to do this properly. You know, I spoke a little bit because, let's face it, we've not had much reference to Remembrance so far. Spoke a little bit about the point of the day.
Now, we've looked at a witch and a tree, but let's remember that 1 million people died.
Right. So, what I hadn't realised behind me, and so I was stood there, there was the TA stood behind these kids sat. What I hadn't realised was there was now some form of contractor getting out of his van not very far behind me, who'd obviously heard me reading the riot act at these kids about how we were going to be respectful. So I went, right, guys, we're coming up to 11. 3, 2, 1, go. And we fell into silence. This contractor, and I can't do it properly, but like he was getting his tools out the van, sort of saw us and went, and then awkwardly stood still, staring into his van for 2 minutes. Like,
oh,
my TAs were stood behind the kids going, so what's this guy? And I kind of sort of turned around slowly and was like, what have I done? So at this point, we'd only got to 2 minutes past 11 and the day was already weird. So...
I can't believe that was just the morning.
There's 4 more hours of the school day to go.
Luckily, I'd only got to keep them till lunchtime. I was like, we can do this. So we did the 2 minute silence. The kids started complaining they were hungry. So I was like, guys, let's just like stop, have an early dinner. So that's what we did. 2 minutes past 11, we were all having lunch because you know what? The day couldn't get any weirder. Let's just break with all time and space and reality.
Mackies have only finished serving breakfast half an hour ago.
I know.
You know what I mean? You're already on lunch.
Yeah.
Was that one of the stops for Remembrance? And we're going to get a Remembrance morning burrito.
And as you crunch the hash brown, remember how we crunched the Germans.
The only way this can get weirder is if after lunch one of them pulls out a live octopus and just starts eating it. That's the only way this can get weirder.
Yeah. You say that.
Oh, shit.
So,
I can't believe it gets worse.
The kids went, can we go and look at the animals? Of course you can. I've got an hour to kill. I have nothing left. I've pulled all of my teacher tools out of my magic hat. There is nothing I have left to go on. So I was like, come on, kids, let's go and look at the animals. So we went round. They've got like a nice little sensory garden. It's really pretty. Like we went round there. That took up like a minute and a half. I was panicking. And so we went and we were looking at some sheep. And there were some people who worked at Northcote Farm in the pens and they were moving some sheep around. And obviously, if you've ever seen a sheep being moved, it's quite a violent procedure. And the kids were not happy. So they were like, oh, animal cruelty. And I was like, no, it's fine. So these people, fair play to them, they stopped what they were doing, they were explaining the process. They were like, no, we're moving all the sheep into the top field because we're releasing a ram in there today because we're going to start the lambing process. They all went, what's a lambing process? And then all looked at me and I went, let's listen to the nice people.
And the mummy to the daddy sheep.
Really love each other.
No.
So they kind of explained the whole thing. They were like, yeah, and this happens and then they'll have lambs in a few months. Great. let's move on. So where Northcote Farm is, we were here. We then walked round some of the other pens where there were some chickens and there was a pig. And then we got to a space that looked out onto said back field where the ram, and I use this pun, was having a field day. This ram was in his absolute element. He was living his best life. Like, anything that moved, that ram jumped on. And I didn't know. Like, I would never say I'm a prude. I've taught sex education. I can do it. Like, on a side note.
Sorry, I can do it. Yeah.
Do it. Not like that. I mean, I can like that, but not in that instance.
I got the pictures to prove it.
Dave, delete them.
What have we spoken about, Dave? So, like, I will say, on a side note, I was doing the sex education lesson. We were talking about puberty and the changes of boys and girls and how it's completely natural. And the deputy head teacher, who was so upper class, walked into my classroom as I went, and guys, so what happens to a girl when they change? Because all my class was lads, but it's very important that boys understand as well. So what happens to a girl during puberty? And one of them went, they get a period. This deputy head teacher entered the room on the word period, went, oh my, and walked back out. It was beautiful.
Deputy head, George Takei.
Yes.
Oh, no.
So anyway, so we went to, unfortunately, we were sort of stood mesmerised by this ram going at it in the backfield.
Yeah.
And they're 14-year-old lads. They like to mess about. They all sort of looked at me and went, Miss, what's he doing? So to play along and to sort of insinuate there was any naivety left in any of them, I went, oh, don't worry, guys.
Oh, God.
It's just giving the sheep a special cuddle. And we all laughed about it.
Oh, no!
Right? We all laughed about it. They knew I was joking. We all laughed. These are the same kids when I was teaching Year 10 and Romeo and Juliet couldn't say the word sex because they all freaked out, so we had to call it the dance with no pants. Right?
Because that's better.
I'm seriously going to lose my teaching license. So we, yeah, I said, oh, they're just having a special cuddle. Not realising that a particular student was stood just behind us. Now, he takes things quite literally. He then proceeded to jump on the back of another male pupil and yelled, cuddles!
What?
I've never assaulted a child, but I was this close to kicking him off that kid's back. I was like, no! Like, so, there were members of the public there who all kind of went. I was like, it's fine, back on the bus. Like, so, yeah, it got to, we all decided enough was enough. It was approaching lunchtime. And we were walking just round the back to get back on the bus, like where the car park was. We're all walking. There's a couple of year 11 lads knocking about. And they think it's really funny to throw bricks at the younger pupils. But they didn't pick up a brick. They picked up sheep poo. So this year 11 lad had got the biggest clump of sheep poo I've ever seen a human being hold. And he pulled back like that. And I went, that's sheep poo. And he just went, Aah! Like he freaked. He wanted bottles of water. I was like, no.
You've made your bed.
He's going, but I've got sheep poo on my hand. But that was your life decision. Back on the bus. I let it till he was just about to get back on the bus, and then I went, no, you need to go and wash your hands with filthy poo. So I marched him back through Northcote Farm so this lad could go and watch sheep poo off his hands. And took my opportunity to go, and let that be a lesson to you. Don't pick up things from the floor. And then we got on the bus and went back to school. So yeah.
Please tell me that this kid was referred to sheep poo and then his name for the rest of his life.
Yeah, like sheep poo Darren.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sheep poo
not
Thompson.
his face, like whisperings in staff rooms.
The staff room, yeah.
Shitty
Always
and
happens in
Dan.
the staff room.
So it's been lovely working for the education system, but I fear this will be my last.
I just imagine when they got their history exam and they were asked, "What can you tell us about World War II?" Just went, cuddles and sheep shit. What?
I mean, that's not too far off the truth.
Oh, Steph, ladies and gentlemen, well done. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you. Thanks.
Clap, 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 clap. Okay, it was I think that worked worse for the kids than it did for you. I'd still employ you.
I mean,
How
it
is that
is now the reason why when they go, do you want to go on this school trip? Or we need a volunteer to stay back in centre. I go, I'll do it. I'll stay.
Let me stay.
I'll teach all the kids that are too naughty to go on the trip. It's fine.
I almost want to get the kids on and give them counselling a little bit. Like has it been long-term tips?
I now want to really chat to them what they think the First World War was like.
Yeah.
There was witches and
Well,
poles
after we
everywhere.
killed the witches and buried them in a grave.
Okay.
No Man's Land was where only the witches could live.
All those people hiding behind the metal trees. You mad? Right.
There's a reason I teach English and not history. Let's face it.
Up next, Mike.
Hey!
It's 2002, and my Year 5 teacher looks up at her class and says, "This afternoon, children, we're going to dance." Now, if you were at primary school in sort of the late 90s, early noughties, dance essentially meant doing star jumps for an hour on a crash mat in right?
There is no doubt, Mike, before you go on, there is no doubt some people who have joined us who wasn't here at the start to understand that you're not sitting in a regular chair.
Basically,
He's in a throne.
because I can't walk. No, right. So,
I mean, it's an incredibly high-tech wheelchair, let's be honest.
it is.
Practically drives itself.
It is, absolutely.
It's like
So
just one
basically-
step
and
away
that-
from a Tesla.
Yeah, let's not go too far. So my dance lessons will be more often spent at the side of the hall watching with a designated friend or whoever had broken their leg that week, doing some form. I mean, that's like Death knows. Like, there's always one. Whoever had and we were doing some form of hand-eye coordination, usually a variant on throwing a ball into a hoop or throwing the beanbag into the bucket. I don't really know what the long-term help was supposed to be, but here we are.
Practicing big box, little box, cardboard box.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can do that now.
Catfish shark.
I'm just great at rain. I'd like to jump forward, if we might, to 2006, and I'm in my school hall because it's my Year 9 options evening, and we hone in on me in the queue to register my interest to do GCSE dance the following September. Now, I know what you're thinking, that's quite a jump. Let me explain how I got to this moment. So, a couple of years earlier, when we started G7, I see my timetable, I see dance, and I think, where's the youth? Get myself ready. like actually, it turns out that like I go to this lesson because I'm too frightened to say no and quite quiet at this point. And this dance teacher, who's literally the loveliest person in the world, just turns to me and says, "Are you gonna dance for me this year, Michael?" And because I'm not too scared to say no, I would say, "Yeah, all right then." And making a long story slightly shorter, I start to do like with everyone else in the class, contemporary dance. Now, like I'm aware that like not everyone will know what contemporary dance is, so like let me give you a quick sort of crash course. Like, and this is absolutely not the definition that other dancers like would use. But this, like, contemporary dance is sort of imagine how sort of the intention behind the movement is more important than the execution of it. So it's almost like if you can justify what you're doing, then it's okay. And
Doesn't work in a court, though.
Well,
doesn't work in a court.
Well, like, do you know this, Adam? Have you got like past it?
No, Steph told me.
All right, I can believe that.
One of my many hearings.
This sounds like the kind of dance I could really get into, because it sounds like all I've got to do is think about the moves that I'm going to do.
Yeah. No,
and that's
genuinely.
enough.
Yeah, like if you're like in theatre or drama, which I was as a kid and still am now, because hey, just have. Basically, it is genuinely like a really cool way of telling a story, and like I was doing it with like everyone else in the class, and I was using my wheelchair in like really like genuinely fascinating ways. And basically, in the intervening 2 years, I did dance wherever I could. Like, it was mad. Like, in the summer term, Steph, when like nobody really cares, and they just sort of like if you're like in year 8, they would like when we get like dance residencies come in, and like they'd let me off timetable for a week. And we'd like do dance and create a piece, and then our parents would come in and watch, and it was amazing because I didn't have to do that. So by the time we got to like picking for options and stuff, I sort of felt like GCSE dance was a viable option. So we back in 2006. You see, are you impressed how I've done this structurally?
I like it. It's like Memento.
Yeah. Ever since you've been involved with the BBC, you've just turned into one of those.
Everything is now sliding doors.
All about that's the thing. So we're in 2006, and I'm at the front of the queue. And my teacher says to me, she says, "Mike, nothing would give me more pleasure than to teach you dance next year." She looks me in the eye, and in the next breath, she says, "But I have to be honest. I've no idea what that would look like." And then I'm sort of think like, but then before I can say anything or even think what's going to happen next, she says, "Well, that's not your problem. Let me go to the exam board and see what we can do." And
She's
naively,
such a better teacher than me.
And
that's quite true, because
like 14-year-old me thinks nothing more of it. I just assume that it'll all be fine. I mean, looking back, like that's a pretty brave stance to take, in it.
That's awesome, because if you'd have said that to Steph, she'd have just took you to see a metal tree, and then there you go, GCSE dance, get on with it.
Let me tell you, there's some great contemporary dancers you can work with. Using a metal tree as inspiration.
Yeah, Dave.
And she a couple of weeks later, she comes back to me and she says, "So I spoke to the exam board, and they don't know what to do either. So they basically just said that we can make it up as we go along." Like, we can just adapt the course whenever we want to, because like, and wherever's easy, because like they're not really sure what to advise. So let's just do it. And
Why did
so
they never say that to me?
yeah, this is like.
To be fair, we've heard about your history lessons. I think they already have said it to you.
This is
The exam board ring the school and go, don't let her teach it again. Yeah. Sorry,
and
Mike.
also this is like 2006, so it's like a bit of a while ago, so it's like probably like changed a bit now. So don't think too badly of stuff. And then so I start this GCSE dance course in September of 2006, and so let me tell you, it's quite like where I've come from to where we are now. Like, it's quite different. This is a room that's full of actual dancers. Like when I say dancers, I mean people who are actually obviously going to go on to train and be actual dancers. And like me, I just spend 2 years discovering I've got tendons in places I did not know I had tendons. And that is all it was. But it's amazing, right? Because there was like, I think this course was in three. We had 3 sort of units where, like, the one unit we had what's called a set piece, which is basically where every GCSE dance student in the country learns this one bit of choreography, and then it's filmed and externally assessed, and so you all have to like step forward in groups of 6 and do this like dance piece, and it like and then, like imagine if chorus line happened in a state comprehensive, and then like this is probably what you've got, and so like, this was this was adapted for me. Right? There was a lot, like, we worked really hard on this dance. It was just all arms. It was a shit ton of arms. It was like a bit voguey, but like a bit sort of depth, because I can do depth now because I'm like 14 and an adult. And so I did it and was marked on it, and it was great. And like we did a showcase, and my parents came to watch, and like my dad's face was like genuinely the most confused I've ever seen.
I like to imagine as well, and I hope he can't hear me as I'm saying this, but that your dad hates dance, so he's just sitting there going, "What the bloody hell's our Michael got into now?"
It's like all his worst fears of what contemporary dance is. Like,
do you know what I'm seeing though? I'm jealous of Russian dancers who look like they look like they're gliding rather than walking. They remain perfectly level and they take tiny steps. So it looks like they're gliding, and they're beautiful. It's what, admittedly, I only know it because that's what the Daleks are based on. But that's what I'm imagining, because I'm imagining that level of like grace. I'm not sure if it's the case, but it's what I'm imagining.
You're paying me too high a compliment here, Adam. You're overthinking this far too much. And there was, but like it was a really like interesting time socially as well, because like I was the only boy in the class.
Now we know why you did dance. That was why you did dance.
Now, like, but it's funny you should say that, Dave, because this led to some really odd like comments from teachers, like, "Oh, how does it feel to be the only boy in that dance lesson?" And he like sort of put me on the spot, but he put me on the spot because it's sort of a bit true, because look, I was 14 and I just wanted to be cool, but actually I'm just surrounded by all these beautiful people with exquisite postures who, when we had lunchtime rehearsals, would bring in Tupperware boxes full of nuts and seeds and pulses to eat. And my lunchtime would be a tuna mayo sandwich made by my mum.
nice.
I love tuna mayo sandwiches made by my mum. But the problem is, when they've been at the bottom of your school bag all morning, and like basically everything starts to congeal round the side of the
Sweaty.
bag. So it's like this sort of fishy, bready mush.
Was it moist?
Oh, not again.
No, don't. I'm not strapped in. So, and like, it's incredibly difficult.
Oh,
I took this very seriously.
Sorry.
It's all right.
God.
So I'm trying to eat this whilst I'm like, it's incredibly difficult to eat that, like, and look cool and look like someone who you might want to go bowling with at a weekend because that's what you did when you were 14. And like that was like the height of cool. So like, and incidentally, this dance class was also the one and only time I've ever been described as hench, which I wear that badge quite proudly.
I mean,
So
you're described as hench all the time in mine and Hannah's conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm playing the long game, you see.
We've had a question about. I mean, I'm assuming it's about the sandwich. It could not be. Did it have a soggy bottom? Tell us everything, Michael.
Structurally, it was all over the place.
Just
there
a
was no
full
bottom
soggy.
of any description. It was just like, it was actual art.
Like an architect's first draft.
So would
Yeah,
not achieve
like-
Star Baker. That's what we've established.
No, definitely would not achieve so.
Okay. Can we just check something first, right?
Right.
Did you pass GCSE dance? Because if you'd have gone through this and they gave you a U, that would have been really bad.
You're not helping with the structure.
He's doing his structure, Dave.
Do you not know I practiced this? I'm not like you, like you just rock up.
What we can't see. What we can't see is
I have to have therapy all week to make sure I don't choke on my own spit. The preparation I have to go through these.
what we
I'm
can't
gonna
see is
start
just off
putting
camera
more
is someone with cue cards, just like come on. Next and next. Come on, you're doing great.
I made notes in my phone. It was really great. I'd recommend.
It's because you're a professional. That's why.
Professional or bumbling idiot. You know, it's a bit of a.
It's a very thin line.
You can be both.
But the best thing, the best unit by far of the whole 2 years for me was the choreography, which was where like we had to like choreograph like two other dancers, like we obviously like had to like come up with moves and stuff. Now, like I was very cleverly on my teacher's behalf was paired together with the two like best dancers in the class. So basically, what I'd done was devised a very clever plan where my form of choreography was just to go, like the dancers would do something that was good, and I'd be like, yeah, that was good. Keep that in, do that again.
Yes.
That was my entire process for like 3 months. And
I mean, that's incorrect as well. So she's like, oh, that was good. Yeah, I'll write that down in my notes so it looks like it was my decision.
yeah, exactly. And we also had to like do reflective journals and our process and what we did. So I managed to basically, in my reflective journal, journalise it with an intricate system of stick men. Sort of, because it's incredibly difficult to explain to someone what you'd like them to do when you're strapped in at 3 different points. So I found that like drawing examples of what might happen would be the best thing for me to do. So I did that, and the last thing we did was a written exam, and like that was basically like we have to watch like a piece and analyze it and like talk about it, and like, I wasn't great at that because like I didn't quite often believe in what I thought very well, but like I sort of made it up a little bit. But it's great because I can tell you all about Cross Channel, choreographed by Lee Anderson in 1992. That's the Site Pacific piece about a holiday from Dover to Calais. So that was great. See, it's all good. I've kept some.
It's all worth it.
And,
We've had another question, Mike.
What a question.
And it is,
What a
I mean,
question.
first off, the comment of like any examiner would have the balls to give a disabled kid a fail on GCSE dance. I see your smart choices, Mike.
I didn't think about that.
That was such a cheeky.
But the question is from It's Dune. I think that's my friend. Was what are your signature dance moves?
Well, I can't really show you because I find it works better just purely in the imagination.
Yeah. So do mine.
There was a thing called the barrel roll that everyone when able-bodied people do it. It's very flippy. It's a lot of rotations and things. But I can't remember what the wheelchair equivalent was.
I've just an insurance claim.
What was that? Sorry.
It's an insurance claim. That's what the wheelchair is.
Also, I've just used wheelchaired as a verb, which is.
I'll allow it.
Always living on the edge, mostly occurred.
Language is evolving.
I think you were missing a trick as well, Mike, because when you had to critique other people's dances, you should have put not enough wheelchairs. And then started that conversation to then get you work as the dancer people get, so there's more wheelchairs in. Because someone's been writing all these academic pieces saying there's not enough wheelchairs. They don't realise it's the same person.
See, 2020 me would be all over that. But 2006 me is a very different person in terms of I
mean, if you'd have thought about it cleverly, you'd have ended up on Glee in the wheelchair rather than Kevin McHale.
Exactly, like an actual disabled person. But thank God that's changed in 2020. Spoiler alert, it hasn't. There are several things you can Google if you'd like me to give you that information. And then, so long and short of it is, join the fight is what.
Yes, solidarity, Reg.
Yeah. So the long and short of this story is that I got a C overall.
Yay!
It's 2 marks better than I got for maths.
Hey!
So, and I've told this story before, and people have said "Oh, it's really inspirational," which is that doesn't really sit well with me because I just did what I wanted to do and didn't really give it much thought. But actually, the reason I'm telling this story is because I think it's amazing what can happen when teachers are just allowed to teach, and also because I was inputting stuff too, and it's just amazing what can happen when there aren't any tick boxes because nobody knew what to do. So basically, just more power to the teachers, isn't it? So that's my GCSE story.
Although there are some teachers that would just take you to see a metal tree.
And a witch grave.
And a witch grave.
To be fair, I would literally love to see that witch grave.
And sheep having sex. Let's not leave out the good stuff.
Oh, Mikey, can you create a contemporary dance piece about that journey and that trip?
I mean,
Will
thing
they?
is, like now I'd have to do it in a car park, wouldn't I? And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Oh,
You could do it at
We
the
definitely
car
have
park.
distance. Mm.
Yeah, it's going to be autumn in it by the time it goes on. And like in terms of, like autumn and winter aren't great for my muscle tension. So that's not really.
I'm not going to lie, I forgot that we're in lockdown. And when you said I'd have to do it in the car park, I went, well, that's just rude. They're not even letting him in the building.
If they've not got ramps, they ain't going anywhere.
John has just asked, and I believe the answer to this is yes. Wasn't your dance teacher Katie from Flexus?
He was Katie from Flexus.
I thought it
Hello,
was. Yeah,
Katie.
yeah.
Hello, Katie off of Flexus. If you're watching,
I don't think she is.
Everyone knows each other, don't they?
Everyone
I'm
knows
not
Katie from
believe.
Flexus because she's a hero around these parts.
Yeah, she is a
Oh, don't
girl.
you?
Yeah.
It's because you
Now
spend
I've
so
got-
much time at the fucking metal tree.
Now I've not fucked up. I might send her the link. No.
She's not on LinkedIn, so I don't care about her at all.
What's happening just now out of camera is my mom has just heard us mention dance and just basically just turned to me and gone, "You've got a GCSE."
Hey!
Which is
It's nice
basically,
that she's watching.
Which basically all she like, if you think about it, she's just completely pissed on my career. Just
I've got
doesn't care about structure at all. She just like,
I've got this long-running joke with my friends that whenever they're like, "Oh, can you take a picture or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, I've got an A level because I've got an A level in photography." And I start saying it to people who I don't know, and I realize, and they actually think I'm trying to brag, and I'm like, "No, what? Wait, no." I'm like, "Don't worry, I've got A level photography. I'll do it." Like,
I'd love it.
and
if you
then
just went,
people
yeah,
think
I've
that
got an
I'm
A level. What in?
French.
Philosophy. If I have an A level.
Think about that.
It's the stupidest A level that I got because I basically didn't like really have any lessons. It was just like a bit of a hippie-ish free-for-all, like, oh, I'll do some photography. And we had to make a book of like, oh, this was the inspiration I had before I made my final project. And I hadn't got any inspiration, so I just invented some photographers. I was just like, this is, and I got a picture of someone off Google, like, this is Jim Smith. He's a photographer from Richmond, Virginia, and he likes to take these photos. And I was like, so I took some that was some, and I just put all the photos I liked that I'd taken. Like, so I was inspired
That's
by it.
brilliant.
This is going public. They will take that A level away from you, and then you won't be able to say it
care.
anymore.
I once had an A level in photography.
That is such a bad thing to say. Because that implies like subterfuge.
The other important thing is that me and Hannah Torrance are going on a road trip to see the Witch Grave, apparently, which I am up for. After lockdown's
Yes.
finished. Yeah.
Can I
So we're doing the Tank Museum,
Yeah, that
the
country museum.
seaside,
Yeah.
so that Mikey can walk again, and then
Yeah.
the grave, the
Yeah,
witch
Witch
grave.
Grave. Yeah.
Which grave?
Yeah.
And what can we
Yeah,
finish
Grayson
at
Hannah.
Northcote Farm to watch the sheep have sex?
I
Yes.
want to see the farm.
And the Wonky Pub.
And the Wonky
Oh,
Pub,
yes.
yeah, the
Yeah, we'll do
Crooked
the
House.
Pub.
pub.
The Crooked House.
Oh, yeah. I remember saying about it. Yeah. Yeah, I want to go there as well. Yay, road trip.
Okay, thank you, Mike. That was super.
Anytime. Mere all week.
It's my turn.
Yay!
No, I thought it was my turn next. Okay.
You can go next if you want.
No, you have your turn. It's fine.
It was my turn, but you can have your turn if you want.
Fight to the death.
No, I don't want it. You have it.
Okay then.
Fight!
I just thought I was
Fight.
for.
Fight.
A socially distanced fight. That's the kind of fight I could get behind.
You've got to mail punches to each other. Just got to draw like action words like bang and wallop on bits of paper and post them.
So this story is about when I had a heart attack. Or maybe we'll see. Essentially, what happened? This was again. I think this was probably when you were doing GCSE dance, Mike. I think this was about 2006. There was a cup final. Now I love football. I support Wolves, and this cup final I'm sure was Man United, and I think it was against Wigan, and it was like a Sunday afternoon. So it wasn't like the FA Cup or anything like that. It might have been the League Cup. I remember Man United won. I think it was Man U v Wigan. And I'd watched the game in the afternoon and not really that fussed about it, but it's football, so I'll watch it. So I watched the game, sitting there afterwards watching the post-match commentary, and start feeling a bit weird. Just feels a bit weird, in the chest. And I'm like, oh, okay. And now I'm going to say something that's potentially medical here. I am not a doctor, so what I'm about to say is probably wrong. So don't think that this is me saying, oh, this is what happens. I'd read or heard something many years ago that said if you have a funny feeling in your left arm, it can be a sign of a heart attack. Because it's all to do with that's where the blood goes first, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a pain in my chest, and then all of a sudden I started getting a bit of a pain in my arm, and I'm sitting there going, and there's part of me that wants to go running into Fee and go, Fee, I'm having a heart attack, right? But I'm like, no, I've got to. I'm doing this to myself.
Well, you don't want to miss the match.
No. The match had finished, so it wasn't that.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
How polite did the heart attack to wait?
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. I'm like worrying, but thinking I'm definitely doing this to myself. This is psychosomatic. I'm a nutter. I'm doing this. But it carries on, and I'm just getting more and more nervous. So in the end, I go into Fee and go, I don't want to worry you, but I've got a bit of a weird feeling in my chest, and then I've got this weird feeling in my arm. I think I'm... And she said, why don't you phone NHS Direct? Now, this was like 2006, roughly, when NHS Direct was brilliant, because you'd phone 0304... what was it? Oh no, 03454647 or something like that, wasn't it?
You've rung that number a lot,
Yeah.
haven't you? Hi, Megan.
Hello? And they were brilliant because
Block my number.
yeah, you got through to real nurses and doctors, whereas now you just get through to call centre bot 101, right?
Well, that number feels like a very complicated number to dial. Like
When
if
you're
have
panicked.
it, like you have to like at least 111. If like if you get your finger in the vague area.
But to be fair, if you're very, very ill, you should be dialing 999 anyway. Faye
Yeah,
has
the
just
actual number.
Fee
Yeah.
has just put in the chat 08454647. She knew it straight away. We're all
There's a lot
contracts
about.
in this house.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm like, okay, I'll phone NHS Direct. I phoned them, and the first thing it says is, you can do an online diagnosis. And I'm that much of a communist that I don't want to take up the time of a nurse or doctor when someone else might need them more than I do. So I'm like, I will do an online diagnosis, right? So when
That's not being a communist. That's having no self-preservation. That's like being a lemming instead.
I'm a communist lemming. So I'll go on to...
Yes. Yeah, I'm making that artwork for you.
A tiny little sickle.
So I'll go on to the website and I do an online consultation.
And it told you it died 3 weeks earlier.
It came up with a massive red box on the screen in massive white letters. Dial 999 and ask for an ambulance immediately. And I was like, well, that's calmed me down.
I feel very calm.
Thank you so much for calming me down.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, oh God. But I'm still like, I don't want to take an ambulance away from someone who needs it more than I do.
Jesus Christ, Dave.
So I found...
Also, backtracking slightly, how do you calmly tell someone to ring an ambulance?
Yeah.
If
you wouldn't mind awfully,
Look, Chad, I don't want to be. I don't want to be like putting anyone out. I know you're watching the rugby. I don't want to like. Oh God, it's the worst. But I can literally see bones.
No,
but, like, later on,
waited for the football to be over. So
in my brain, you've got half a pint left, and they're going. Oh. When I come back, that'll be flat.
It's like Voldemort only attacking Harry at the end of the school year.
Yeah. Better wait till June because you know the kid's got an education.
Yeah, he'll done his tests by then. So even if he is dead, at least his parents will get a lovely certificate. Oh,
yeah, I want him to be much better at magic by the time I get to fight him. Yeah. Cool, sweet.
Oh, that's a plot hole I've never realised before.
No, the biggest one. If Owl can tell where anyone is, why didn't Voldemort just go, hey, send this letter to Harry Potter and then just follow the owl to where he was? Carry on. It's my biggest annoying plot hole. Anyway, we all know what I feel about Joanne.
That's the plot hole, and not that he couldn't just punt a child. Like, I can kill a baby. Why can't a magic man just rather than using magic, right? He's on the second floor.
Can someone please clip Adam saying I could kill a baby?
Just open the window and drop them out. And then his mum's magic.
Yeah,
won't
no,
help
the
it.
point is that it was his hubris, wasn't it? Because he wanted to
dash
do
him
a
against the
specific
wall.
thing.
John is on his way.
Thanks, John.
Well, I'm so glad I don't work with kids.
So are the kids.
There'd be less of them every day. Just to prove to the Ofsted inspector, this is how Voldemort should have done it.
No, you don't understand. I could kill a baby.
Right into J.K. Rowling.
Joanne, this is how you do it.
Joanne, who needs it?
Oh, Joanne.
Joanne, transphobic Joanne.
Yes, let's not get on to the what she's done the last couple of weeks. The stupid.
Anyway, Dave, continue with your lighthearted story about how you ignored
please tell us about how you nearly died.
So I phoned my mate up and I'm like, "Can you drop me off at the hospital?" Hannah's just put "fuck off to your castle, Joanne."
Fuck off to your castle and shut up.
If you go onto Twitch and you go in the clips, there is a clip of Hannah shouting, "Fuck off to your castle, Joanne."
There's no need for any billionaire to be on Twitter. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So my mate comes round and takes me up to the hospital, and at this point I'm still there thinking,
Your mate comes round.
How did you phrase that to him? Like, oh, I think I might be having a small heart attack. Could you pop round if you're not busy?
A sousson.
Petit sousson.
Sorry,
Just it's only the left ventricle. Only the left ventricle.
Right one.
I don't want to trouble you. I don't want to trouble anyone.
He was like that. I'm like, no.
He's like, I'm just mowing the lawn, so if you can wait till I've finished. And then...
So he drops me off outside A&E, and I'm.
Oh my God, he makes you walk in.
There's a part of Faye couldn't drive at the time. I could drive, but obviously I wasn't going to drive myself to the hospital.
You know who can drive, Dave?
That's what ambulances are for.
Ambulance drivers. It's literally in the title.
Right. There's still a part of me that's going, I'm doing this to myself. This is just psychosomatic. And I think that was part of why I was feeling that way. So I'll go into A&E. Now, if anyone's watching this but if anyone's watching this from outside the UK and they don't understand how the NHS works, it's free because it's paid for by taxes. So not taxes that you drive. We pay tax and that pays for NHS. And it's dependent on your need, not on your ability to pay. So one of the things that, like, if people say, "Oh, I went to A&E and I was in A&E for 4.5 hours," chances are you were okay, because if there was something life-threatening, they'd have got you in. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not always the case. There's mistakes are made, but on the whole, and let's be honest, it's better than the American system.
Oh yeah,
you know,
100%.
NHS,
Like,
go
literally
NHS.
anything.
Yeah, anything's better than that. But you know, we all love the NHS. Go NHS, right? So I'm fully expecting that I'm going to go in, go up to the counter and say, "Oh yeah, NHS director told me to come in. Yeah, pain in the children," and they're going to go, "Right, what's your name, date of birth, doctor's surgery, all that stuff. Go and sit over there." And I'm waiting 4 hours. That's what I'm expecting, right? I go in, walk up to the counter and say, "Hi, NHS director told me to come in because I'm having pains in my chest." And she didn't even ask my name. She just went, "Go and stand over at that door there. Someone will be out immediately." And I was like, "Oh." And it was,
you know why? Because they're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
It's the door to the morgue.
Open the door. Adam's there, just bouncing babies off the floor.
See, Joanne.
It's easy, Joanne.
Don't need a basilisk, did I? No, just a hammer and patience.
Yeah, he did just say that, didn't he?
Oh, criminy.
You get kicked off the internet.
How to delete
about to
someone
find out.
else's channel?
I don't know if this is against Twitch terms of service or what.
Find a new Tuesday night hobby, guys.
It's
It was
edgy.
fun while it lasted, wasn't it?
It was nice knowing you. We did one. That was fine.
I am standing outside this door for can't be any more than a minute, right? But while I'm there, genuinely, absolutely genuinely, when she said, "Go and stand by that door," I thought, that's it, I'm dead. Like, that was the first time I genuinely thought, I'm not doing this to myself, I'm fucking dead. Funnily enough, I'd had a deal on some life insurance, right? and I was for about 3 years I was insured. So if I died, I was insured to about 120 grand. And that week I'd been joking with Fee, and I'd actually said, "Oh, when I die, you'll be sorted anyway." And I remember standing there actually thinking, God, I hope she remembers what I said. So she can, you know what I mean? I was genuinely,
Yeah.
at least I know she'll financially be okay. I was honest to God, no kid, I genuinely thought I'm going to die. I open the door, this nurse calls me in, sits me down, and they get you take your shirt off. And if you've ever seen me without a shirt, which usually just takes a few beers or a gig where there's a heckler, it tends to happen.
Do you tear it like Hulk Hogan
I can confirm.
and throw it at them?
Come on!
Look at me. You're not going to dent my self-esteem. Ah!
I'm very hairy to the point that when I take my shirt off, it looks like I'm wearing a cardigan. So she has to shave all these squares of hair off my body.
Oh my God.
To put these little probes on. And then obviously, is it an ECG them doing? I think it's an ECG. So, and while she's doing that, she's asking me all these questions, you know. Now she's asking me my name and my age. You know, do you smoke? Do you drink? All that stuff. You know, any history of heart disease in your family? All that, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I'm absolutely shitting my pants, right? I'm genuinely thinking I'm fucking gonna die here. And I can feel my heart, like, because I'm just panicking. And she runs this test. And, Mike's just disappeared and the screen's just shifted around. Mike's disappeared.
He'll be back.
Could
He'll be
someone
back.
unlock the room
Yeah.
so we
I've
can
done it.
get back in? Thank you. So she does this test, and she just looks at me, and I'm kind of like, and I went, genuinely looked at her and just went, "Am I gonna die?" And bless her, she looked at me and went, "Yeah, but not on my shift."
Oh, love her.
Yeah, but if she'd then gone, anyway, that's me clocking out. Bye.
So yeah, Jeff will be taking over, and
We call him like the Undertaker. So
yeah, the Night Watchman. Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
brutal.
Coming in now is Adam. Adam walks in, bouncing babies.
Drops you out a window.
There's no magic here.
Just a sweet release of dirt.
Ooh.
So I'm like, well, what was wrong? What's going on? And she says, I've got no idea. However, it's nothing serious. This, you know what I mean? Whatever it wasn't anything bad. Mike, you missed the bit where I died.
Sorry. Came up that the tablet only had 40% left to charge. And what I've forgotten to tell you is when you plug my charger in, it automatically turns itself off because that is logical. So, sorry, internet. As for continue.
It's fine. We can live with it. It's not like you missed the important part of the story or anything, Mike.
Yeah.
Just tell the truth, Mike. You got bored.
Well,
I'll come back. I'll come back in 5 minutes. You'll still be talking. Yeah, it's fine.
I can only spend so long around my eyeballs before it starts to get real. If anyone just wanted on that sentence, they are gonna have.
Someone's gonna clip it, Mike.
Yeah.
Cheers, John. Take.
Ancient John.
So yeah, she actually said whatever it was that's wrong with you, it's nothing serious. You're fine. And she actually said you're at very low risk of heart attack. And I'm like, but I'm really fat. And she went, that's got nothing to do with it. She says it's all about your genetics and all that sort of thing. She says, you are at really low risk of heart attack. So I was like, does that mean I can go to the pub? And she's like, yeah. And I went to the pub that night. But yeah, that's my story. I thought I was having a heart attack and I wasn't. To this day, I've got no idea what it was.
How much curry had you eaten like the week before?
No, you see, someone said that was it indigestion, and it's like, look, you can see me. I know what indigestion is. You know what I mean? When I eat, right? The only way I could describe how I eat is, you know, when pelicans eat fish, and it's just like it's that.
You inhale rather than
I appreciate that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I genuinely think it's a working class thing because it's like, eat it as quickly as possible before the Lord of the Manor comes down and steals it off you.
Yeah, or like I've got two brothers, so I eat really quickly because it's like, or it will be stolen from me.
Yeah. That's the same with us, but ours was stolen by people like you.
How is any food stolen in your house when every single one of you is literally armed at all times?
Yeah, well, have you ever heard?
Violent psychopaths like you. I think that's
No.
Have you never heard of the Grand Malay? That's
Hannah
what dinner
literally
time
is
at my
normally
house.
armed at all times or has a sword within our hand's reach.
Yeah, I've got one over there.
Oh, I thought you were just threatening your family.
No, I was.
No,
being-
we're heavily armed
No.
as a family.
We are heavily armed as a family.
We've got an armory.
For the internet, that they are not just purely like museum pieces. So you don't
They're replicas of historical. Yeah.
What would have been better is if Hannah had gone, they're not. Yeah.
I mean, they still pack a punch.
It's the full nuclear warhead that's the most worrying. It's a replica.
I've got one over there, but it probably won't fit in the box, so it's fine.
It's pointy.
So let's go on to the last one then. So Hannah,
Oh, no, first of all, Dave, great story.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
Clap for Dave.
appreciate it.
thank you.
Oh, I think we can all agree we're glad you're alive and that it wasn't a heart attack.
Yay.
Like,
No idea what it was to this day.
Weird.
Appear on their stream, like on the house party stream. It's like pictures of like Dave had one on your square, and
Oh yeah, it tells us how long we've been talking together. It's okay. It means we've been friends for like 120 minutes. You're welcome.
Oh, is that what that is?
There's nothing
It's like
popped up on mine.
Mine popped up earlier on.
Cool.
Oh,
I'm just going to say I like Hannah's message of how long until Platz's story is just a tour of the armory.
Oh, we could do that one time if you want.
You could do a video tour of the armory.
Yeah, I could take you round.
Is that a euphemism, Hannah? A tour of the armory.
If only it was, Mike.
It's not called the Red Room for no reason.
The Red Room. Come on then, Platz. What's your story about? What did
Right.
you say?
Okay. So.
Oh yes, celebrities.
Yeah, so I didn't really know what to talk about. So I thought I would just make a fool of myself for your entertainment again. So I thought I could just talk about some of the minor interactions I've had with celebrities. And so yeah, thanks. Cheers. So when I met Prince Edward, it was no.
And we were all
had...
dressed like Nazis at a party. It was amazing.
No, Prince Edward's the chill one. But
Yeah,
anyway.
I know.
Do any of them involve Henry Regatta?
No.
Okay.
No, I've
Could
got
you
a
pronounce
visceral
regatta?
hatred of Henry Regatta because someone I used to work for used to go there, and I was like, I hate you. Anyway,
I have a hatred of Henry Regatta. I am indifferent to
Because you can't say it.
There is that.
anyway,
You managed to form an opinion on Henry Regatta since everything.
I used to live in Surrey. I didn't have any choice.
Of course you did.
I'll get the Tory sign out. Carry on.
It was awful. I was surrounded by Tories. So I'm trying to work out whether I should tell the Judi Dench story or not.
Yes.
And
Always.
then, okay, well, so it's exactly 10 years ago. I was doing my master's in classical theatre, and we were, trained at a theatre.
It's a good start.
I probably won't. It's quite easy to say the name of it, but I won't say it.
Doing my training on a metal tree.
No, but what I mean is that we weren't at the uni. We were in the theatre doing the master's course. It was in the building of the theatre, and so while we were there, they put on Midsummer Night's Dream with Judi Dench as Titania, and they asked us originally. They asked us to play the trees of the forest.
Steph can teach you about that.
So we had to go. We went.
Finally, my specialist subject.
We went all the way into the middle of London, into Chelsea, to these rehearsal rooms, and we were all sat in a row. And
It's just too easy at this point. I'll just keep it up all the time. so
the assistant director was there, and her assistant, and
assistant director as an assistant.
well, because it was directed by Sir Peter Hall, so he wasn't there.
Oh.
Yeah, because he was about 80 something at this point. It was only a few years before he died. Anyway, so they said, so basically we want you to be the trees in the forest so that you can make them move as if the fairies are are moving them, but we want like maybe 4 of you to play some of the fairies. So like if everyone can stand up, and we all stood up, literally all I did was stand, and she went, well, I think Hannah is definitely more tree-ish than fairy.
This is Dench.
And I was like,
Was that Dench?
No.
That
This
wasn't
is
Dench,
the
was it?
director.
Oh god,
And-
because she's perfect and pure.
So I was like, so I tried to style it out,
couldn't do
and
that.
was like,
So,
I tried to style it out, and I was like, yeah, I'm the mighty oak of the forest. And that was how I was known.
I'm a tree.
So basically, we ended up not being the trees because we did a test in these. They borrowed them from an old opera production. They had these trees that were like 20 foot or something high, and they were attached to a kind of base that had 2 Wellington boots in it, so which were fixed in place by like papier-mâché covered in moss. So you had to put your feet into the wellies and then like hold the tree, right? And I was the only one who could hold it because it was literally like 15, 20 feet. And the boots were like massive, like size 10 wellies, and I've got size 9 feet anyway, so I was fine, but everyone else was like not. And
The magic of theatre.
they realised that in order for us to get into these welly boots and not make it look like we were getting into welly boots, we would have had to get into them before the audience were let into the auditorium and then stay there. So that would be like 20 minutes of getting and then like 3 hours of play because there was no way to safely get us out and hold the tree upright. So they were like, actually, this is probably against some laws. So they made us instead. We were Theseus's soldiers. So we came on at the beginning. We had this like opening scene where it was like all of us were supposed to be like the actors in the theatre, like looking at parchment scrolls and like going like, oh, this is exciting. A play's going to start. And then Judy would walk in and they'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And she was dressed like Elizabeth I. And she would like take a scroll off someone, and the concept was that she was Elizabeth I who was like visiting the playhouse and wanted to play a part in the play, and so they said she could play Titania, right? So Dame Judi Dench is there, dressed in like pretty much exactly the clothes she was wearing in Shakespeare in Love, right? But she's like this tall, and we're all in the wings together before the show, all just kind of crammed in there.
Who's a good Dame Judy?
She used to, but she was like small, like really small, but like really adorable. And
Was
so
she just a bit far away?
No, she was really close because the wings are about this big in the theatre, and we were all like crammed in waiting to go on. And so because we had to wait there for them to, and because obviously there were a lot of people in, so it used to take ages to do the house and everything, but we had to be in position. So we were there for ages, all crammed in these wings. And so Judy started setting us trivia questions to pass the time.
Oh, I love her.
And one day, somebody else was like, oh, I know a good trivia question, and asked this question, and I answered it. And Judy was like, oh, what's this? And made me explain how I knew this weird bit of trivia. And I was like, I've impressed Judi Dench with my trivia knowledge.
Miss Dench, did you know that Corvids can be my friend?
Miss Dench, let me tell you more about acronyms. But it was so beautiful because obviously we were doing our masters, and so we were like, can you come and do a workshop with us, because like, you know, you're Judi Dench. And
as if she wasn't aware.
Yeah. And she was like, oh, you know, she was like, oh, I feel a bit weird, I don't really know like what I can teach you. We were like, teach us how to be you, Judi Dench. And she was like, oh, you know, instead, why don't you just come and have a chat? Like, because she comes on at the beginning and then she's not on again for ages, and we were only on in the first scene and like the last scene, so we had like 2.5 hours to do nothing while the whole play happened. And so we like
Yes,
so
Mikey.
it ended, yeah. So it ended up in this beautiful scene of like Judi Dench dressed as Elizabeth I with the big thing like this and all the beads, us all in these brown doublets and breeches and little brown hats, sat on the floor, and she sat on a chair, and we were sat on the floor in her dressing room with our legs crossed, like, tell us more stories about the industry, Dame Judy. And like the guy that was playing Oberon had his little dog with him, Rufus, and he came scampering in, and he sat on my knee, and I was like stroking this little dog going, tell us about Daniel Craig, Auntie Judy. And she was like feeding the dog like macarons and like telling us stories about being in James Bond.
Macaroons.
Macaron. Anyway. Yeah, so that was a beautiful celebrity encounter, but the other ones that I was going to tell you about are not beautiful.
You were saying, I don't know whether
What?
I can tell the Judy. Oh, sorry, I don't know whether I can tell the Judy Dench story.
Oh,
Why?
well, because it feels like me going, by the way, I met Judi Dench and I'm amazing. Oh, that helped. I just dropped a name on my foot.
Oh.
Ow. I don't want it to be like. But it was amazing because she took us all out for burgers as well and paid for them. And she was like, and she brought us all cake and stuff. And I love her.
She's everyone's grandma.
Yeah.
You know that drama warm-up that goes, instead of many men, it goes Judi Dench.
Judi Dench, Judi Dench, Judi Dench, Dench, Dench. Judi Dench, Judi Dench, Judi Dench, Dench. I wish I had. No, I wish I had.
Same.
And
She
the
does that.
other amazing thing about her is that her phone went off in rehearsal one time, and it is the James Bond theme.
Oh.
I nearly died of happiness. It was like, ba-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum. But I was just like, oh, sorry, that's me. I was like,
Oh, that's perfect in every single way.
that was beautiful. I've run out of my battery on my phone's died, so I can't see the chat. So I don't know what anyone
It's fine.
said.
The only thing that's happened is someone went clang, your name
Clang,
dropped.
ow, my foot. And the other celebrity encounter I was going to tell you about because it's funny, but doesn't paint me in a good light, is that when I worked at the Royal Academy, yeah, fine, Tori. It's just assumed now. I should just write it across the top. It was 2012, so it was like the Olympics, but it was also the Jubilee year, like Diamond Jubilee or whatever. Yes, lovely.
Film.
Yeah. And so they, because it's the Royal Academy, they had an event where they invited the Queen to come and be like, oh, Jubilee. So
Did you meet the Queen?
No, I didn't, but I saw her, but I didn't meet her. I was very lowly. But they invited like everyone to this party, like everyone, like loads of people came. And my my friend and I were working, so I was there like in a working capacity to like in case anyone needed anything. And there was this really bossy woman from the palace who tried to banish me and my friend to a back corridor, like, you can stand there. And we were like, no, we're not going to do that because we want to see who's here at this party.
What was your job? What were you actually doing?
Team, so it's just like if anything needed fetching, if anyone had a problem, I was just like a point of contact type person. Like, you know, just making sure the flow of people downstairs. I was very lowly position. But there were a lot of famous people, like everyone there was famous. And so I'd made this joke about like, I wonder what they smell like. So we were just like casually, my friend and I were just casually walking through the galleries, and I would just like have a little sniff if I could, not in an outlandish way, but just in, you know, when you're going past people, you can just give them a little like, oh yeah. And
Hey, what I was saying earlier is no longer the worst thing said on this chat tonight.
I mean, it's still very.
And
nice.
I started keeping track of, and everyone was asking me like, oh, what does so and so smell like? And I started keeping track of it, and it became a bit of a thing that I was renowned for.
And by thing, she means police record.
Yeah. It was also the night that we were standing. I was looking at my friend, and I saw over at the bar, and I went, oh my God,
oh my God, Tom Hiddleston's here. And she was like, where? I was like, don't look. I was like,
Tell me you
okay.
smelt him.
I was like, he's at your 7 o'clock. He's at your 7 o'clock. And she went, what? And I looked over and I made eye contact with him. And like the power of the eye contact made me do this face, right? Because I wasn't expecting him to be looking, and I was afraid and like mesmerized at the same time. So what he would have seen is me like staring intently at my friend and then going, and that was it.
No, that scene in The Witches from Roald Dahl when they all get together in that convention.
Yeah,
This feels like that.
very much. Yeah. And so it got to it was like became a long running joke then. So when I left, which wasn't that long after, it was like maybe like a month after or something. I didn't get fired. No, I left of my own volition. For my one of my leaving presents, they made me a set of coasters, and all of the people on each coaster was someone I'd smelled. It was like a little Richard E. Grant coaster. He was the best smelled, by the way. Best
What did
name.
he smell
Thank
like?
you.
Oh my God, he smelled like the most, like, imagine the best smell. It was
This
like,
isn't helping. Right,
If you want to know what Richard E. Grant smells like,
he has
perfume.
his own perfume, so he smelt like his own perfume, his own
Aftershave, yeah.
fragrance.
Yeah.
You see, what we need
It was like, oh, so good.
we need to be able to throw celebrities out to you, like Judi Dench,
Yeah.
and you immediately come back with
Yeah.
Lily of the Valley, right?
Yeah,
That sort of thing.
I don't think I smelled Judy.
We're 15
What a normal
minutes
sentence.
We're 15 minutes into this story, and the
Yeah.
only thing we know is that Richard E. Grant smells nice of his own perfume.
Smells amazing.
So,
Can we do like a
Rob Brydon
we need-
smelled like wet tweed.
was my
your
friend
old
Will
David,
there? Hang on, we'll do like a top of the pot. Like,
No, it was like, I can't remember them all because it was a long time ago. But I have
at number 10,
No, I can't remember them all
At
because it was a
number
long
10,
time.
There were so many.
No,
So many victims.
Listen.
So many.
once
Hannah,
I'd smelled,
Hannah,
once
don't
I
want you to
smelled-
remember them all. Just remember some of them. Just
I'm
tell
telling
me. Come on,
Right.
go.
Obviously, Richard smelt the best. Rob Brydon smelt like wet tweed. I don't know why.
Click that.
Was he wearing wet tweed when
He was, maybe his jacket was, yeah.
Was he pissed on Scrumpy?
Yeah, probably. No, it was probably something more grand than that, let's face it.
Sparkling Scrumpy.
Sparkling Harry.
Been put through a soda stream.
Oh, God, I can't. It was a long time ago. Like,
I can't believe Dave Pitt just got a soda stream reference in.
Working class, mate. Working class. We all had soda stream.
They were more expensive. How was that working class?
yeah.
Car boot sales. There was
Not
a
if they were
period.
stolen.
Yeah, no, if they were
No.
stolen. There was a
Fell off a
period
lorry.
in the early 90s in particular where every time we went to a car boot, there was always a soda stream for like £3. Rob Kemp has a
Sold
lovely.
in pubs.
Rob Kemp
Out
has
of a
yeah.
jacket
Rob Kemp
with
has
a
a
block of
lovely
cheese.
story about all the different drinks he's put through a soda stream, including milk. And I
Milk,
said,
fizzy milk sounds like a great idea. It sounds like an amazing idea
doesn't
until you
sound-
have it.
It doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
I said to Rob, "What's fizzy milk like?" And he said, "Effervescent."
Oh.
This podcast always circles back around to Rob Kemp
But
saying
this-
something.
But this
My
is getting
dream
us
was
to
a soda stream.
what Stephen Fry smells like. So what?
I didn't get close to Fry.
We all know he smells like Twinings. We all know he smells like Twinings.
So come on.
At work as well. So I was trying to be, trying to be a little bit subtle.
Just clipboard, yes, clipboard, definitely look at my clipboard. Yep.
One of the coasters was Tom Hiddleston's face, so that I could always go. And the other one was of the president of the academy, which I think I told you the story about how at the Christmas party I had to try and measure how high how high I was. My height against
How tall, not
Tall,
how
that's
much
the
you
word.
were on drugs.
I was like, that's the wrong word, Hannah.
Which would explain a lot of these stories if you had been on
I,
drugs.
But how high was I?
Now we know what makes it.
one of the coasters was of him, who I won't say his name, because I had backed up to him slowly whilst drunk, trying to measure how tall he was.
Please tell me you were going beep.
My head was, but I was also making
I'm
aggressive
taller.
eye contact with my friend across the room, and he's like super tall. He's like 6'7", so he could see over everyone's heads. So I was like maintaining aggressive eye contact with him the whole time, and just like reversing into the president while he was making a speech.
Weren't you dressed as a pirate as well?
Dressed
Or
as
have
a
I got
pirate, yeah.
Dressed as a pirate, yeah. I feel like that was a detail you missed out.
Had a beard drawn on and like had an eye patch and a bandana.
so that no one will know it was me.
I can imagine it getting caught as well, and him going, "What are you doing?" And Hannah just going,
Oh,
"I'm
Matt
the
Lucas,
mighty
Matt
oak of
Lucas
the
remembered.
forest."
Matt Lucas smelled like soap. Matt Lucas smelled
Hold on, Matt Lucas, what?
like soap.
Is that because he just had a wash?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm
this is
just
how
imagining
he had
him.
at least
in,
one
like,
eye in 2012. So you know,
I'm just imagining him like he's gone to the toilet, gone. Oh, just that'll do.
just
It's not like anyone's gonna smell me. Like
I made eye contact with Toby Stevens through an architecture model and tried to play it cool, but it didn't.
That
So
sounds
in my mind, I was like, "This is how rom-coms start." Someone's eyes through an architectural scale model through the
right
perfect
term.
thing.
This is it.
The right term for that, Hannah, is a meet cute.
Spoiler alert. It's not. Toby Stevens and I are not wed.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Perhaps we're just in the peril point of the rom-com, and it's
Yeah.
going on
What-
since 2012.
What do other celebrities smell like? Come on.
I can't remember. Honestly, it was a
God's
long
sake, please.
time ago. I tried to find the coaster set before we came on today. I was going through my boxes. I was like, I've got to find my coasters to show them.
Next
I
time.
do, like, jog my memory of the smells. Basically, once you've smelled Richard E. Grant, you can't smell anyone else because
no other smell matters.
I can't. I have a vivid sense memory of what it smelled like.
I imagine Richard E. Grant is like fresh linen.
Oh, but it was
Oh.
beautiful.
On the basis
Beautiful.
on the basis that he did that program where he just goes into posh hotels.
He just wanders about having a nice time.
John T, please clip this.
Richard E. Grant going into posh hotels, diving on beds. That's literally all the program.
Are you
was.
sure he didn't want to do a DFS advert? You just got confused.
I mean, so,
Great time.
I mean, I really like Richard E. Grant. I love him like with most of my heart. He's just a beautiful man having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's like the best,
you
and he
know,
smells amazing.
we're all living vicariously through Richard E. Grant.
Come on, you've got to know what some other celebrities smell like. This is top grade bands. This is, come on.
Please don't ever use that word again.
I only used it because I know you.
I'm not.
You knew it'd trigger me.
I'm suddenly in dire need of physiotherapy.
I bet
Can
Toby
I
Robinson.
just
Toby
stop
Robinson.
Just for a second. Dave, you have coughed incessantly through this. Have you got the Rona?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I did a test for that yesterday
Oh yeah, did you feel like you were budging your own brain out?
because because I can do the like tricks where you put nails up your nose and stuff. So it's like put the thing up your nose. I was like, how far? Oh, just 2 centimeters. Right. Okay. I'll get.
I'm just going to put my light on because it's got dark.
Yes.
Yeah. I just wonder where you'd gone at one point.
I think Tony Robinson smells like straw.
Thank you for that. What I have got is hay fever.
Condoms. Oh, okay.
And I forgot to have my my tablets. So
I've
that's
had
my coffee.
this week. It's been really bad, yeah.
It's
Shall we clap, clap, Hannah, clap, clap?
Clap, clap, Hannah.
Clap, clap, Hannah, clap, clap.
Although Hannah, I do feel that we need to know more what celebrities smell like.
Can we get one each week?
Yes,
Yeah.
a week. In fact,
we can give it a jingle.
we'll give it a jingle.
Hannah is sniffing celebrity.
What do they smell of this week?
Yeah. I'll try and find the coaster set for next week. So
If one of them is the Queen and you've forgotten, I'll be so angry.
I mean, I saw her. I also saw Shirley Bassey, and was
That's
like,
cool.
"Oh my god, that's amazing!" But I didn't get close to her.
Probably because the other staff had an email about you. Do
Yeah.
not let Hannah get close to the famous people. She will not hesitate to smell them.
I'm really surprised that I haven't been fired from any of my jobs, to be honest, the way that I've conducted.
You are, to be
myself.
fair, you are self-employed now.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm self-employed now, and it's because I used to like steal the canapes and like.
It's not so much fired; it's more never rehired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all like, I'm leaving now because I just shouted at the CEO and I'm getting in first.
Right.
I'll be too low big time. I've got it hooked on the internet. This will literally be archived.
Right. Oh, crikey, my throat is completely gone. It's not the Rona, I promise you.
Dave has the Rona.
My friend started doing it because like the Rona is a dry cough. Like if she has like a hay fever cough, her and people in her family have started going like coughing and then going, "It's productive, it's productive." And now
look at you lot laughing about it with your ability to go outside and do things you want, like have haircuts and go to the pub, you non-Leicester twat.
I can have a haircut.
On
I haven't had a haircut yet.
I have, but I've told you, grade 2 all over. It's the future. 25 years I've had this haircut, and it's starting to pay off now. Because all I have to do is go. Done.
I want that.
But
Do
anyway.
Next week on the stream, do it.
I'd be like,
On
like
that note, next week on the stream, we're doing it again, but we're doing a different version of this. What we're calling Stories from the Smoke Room, The Lock-In. Where
You missed the cola.
cola.
Story of my life.
So rather than just telling stories, we're just gonna fucking chat for like 2 hours. And hopefully I won't have a cough. I'll remember to set my
Mike had to say it.
What's the door?
This is literally going to be archived.
We need to sound like that, but just like accentuate your noise. Like the cutest thing I've ever heard.
No, because no one in my family will ever let me live it down.
I want a soundbite of it, and I want it as my message tone. Just
Hello.
This will be Googleable.
That's a word.
MikeySickups.com.
Let's close this. Let's close this, right? If you're watching the stream, you'll see there's a web address at the bottom, which is I'm made aware today is pronounced Kofi. That KO-FI is pronounced Kofi. Yeah.
Called it coffee.
I know. I wasn't sure whether it was coffee or Kofi, but yeah, it's Kofi.
All right.
/ stories from the smoke room. If you think this 2 hours of rambling has been worth a coffee, then buy us a coffee. Like Annan, yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, John, when I realised it today. Like Annan, So yeah, if you think it's been worth a coffee, then buy us a coffee. Because all creatives are just like in the hole at the minute, aren't they? Because there's just nothing out there. So yeah,
really
we're doing
want
this
coffee.
again next Tuesday, 7:30. But it's the lock-in version where we just talk shit for 2 hours. I mean, because
And we'll get like topics from the chat. And
yeah, this was planned. Apparently, it wasn't. It really isn't. We do the minimum amount of work possible. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Anything that you want to say, folks, before we close off?
Do you need to go to bed?
I need some honey and lemon. It's the only thing that will stop me.
Dave has the Rona.
It's not the Rona.
I mean, if he does, this is going to be awkward, isn't it, Steph?
I mean, worse has happened.
Thanks.
cool.
Anything you want
I mean,
to say?
well, it wasn't a heart attack, and he thought it was. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Is that it? Is it just going to be about? I mean, it could potentially kill me.
What? The hay fever?
Now if I've got the Rona,
Oh.
you're joking about it now. This could be the last one of these I do.
Well, this will be we'll do a dedication to, like, in memory of, at the end. It's called. Don't worry about it.
Do you still have the life insurance? Well, don't. No. In which case, get that lemon down you.
That's exactly what I'll go and do now. Thank you, folks, for joining us in the chat. So round of applause for everyone in the chat. Thank you very much.
Yay!
Thank you for you lot for turning up. We'll do this again next week. I'll stop the recording now, and I think we can put this bit on YouTube then as well. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, extra.